Well, other than my own coaching supervision training, which was face-to-face with a group, I've never experienced, other than maybe one conversation one time with one person, in-person supervision. So I actually don't know what it would be like. My mind answered, I would probably prefer virtual because it is more efficient, right? I don't have to drive somewhere and drive back from somewhere. And so just, it's more efficient to be virtual.
Yes, a strong preference is to be in person. Yeah. I have more flexibility, more things that I can do in the spur of the moment. Some approaches to supervision that I find easier in person, although I can do them virtually as well. Well, you get to see the whole person sitting in a chair. Their posture is more evident. It's easier to look at the people. You know, I have not figured out how in virtual I can look at the person's image on the screen and look at the camera at the same time. But when I'm face to face with a person or several people, you know, with a wide view, I can take in the whole person. I can take in several people at once, and they see my eyes while I'm looking at them.
I don't have to waste time in commuting. Second, we can reach more people all over the world, anytime, any time zone. I don't see many disadvantages. I really believe it's almost the same. We can maybe have different labs or be more relaxed maybe in our positions, our body language. We can see the whole body language and not only the face. Or we can do some exercises or maybe some role plays in a different way if it's in person. So that would be the disadvantages if I don't have it in person.
I think the virtual setting allows more people access to supervision.
Hell, I don't have to get in a car or an airplane. So there's actually more time in a day because I don't have any of the transfer time. I do make sure I leave 15 minutes between clients, unlike meetings. but I do make sure that I've got, you know, field clearing time, but that's a lot different than an hour and a half that it usually takes to drive into town to see somebody at a client site.
Do you have a lot more variety of clients? Yeah, location is not an issue anymore. Can work anywhere. The ability to work across cultures, and I like that.
I prefer to work virtually because of we are both comfort, the supervisee and myself in the place that we are. We have a lot of possibilities virtually. We remain speaking about our emotions, being vulnerable. I don't see any difference on those aspects, you see. And instead of that, I can arrange better my schedule and I can work with people that are not from my country, with different languages, with different ways of being, so with different cultures. So I prefer working virtually. Disadvantages, a lot of hours sitting in the same place without moving, I would say. And I use my eyes very much, so they are tired.
Convenience in, you know, for both the coach and the supervisor. I think another advantage that I see is being able to work with people in multiple locations. The main advantage would be the diversity of perspective. I haven't seen or experienced people feeling like they've been kind of shortchanged in any way by engaging in supervision virtually.
I will be working, I would say 80–90% virtually. Also because the coaches that ask me for supervision don't live in my country or in the place where I live, you see. So
I love virtual. I would keep on going virtual. I think I can reach much more people, and it's easy and it's fast, and I like virtual.
So will you?
Oh, I think we will definitely remain virtual the next 5 years. Absolutely. I think one of the things that's happened, particularly as working across cultures, and you would know this, some cultures are very face-to-face and very physical in just the way they relate to people. And I think what COVID has done is it's made everyone's kind of working virtually. And I think people are a lot more comfortable with it than they were, let's say, pre-COVID.
I think that I'll have even more virtual. I don't think I will meet face-to-face as much.
I probably have too strong a bias here, but I think that one-on-one work will be virtual for all kinds of reasons, not the least of which we're going to be another year, maybe two, before we're on the other side of travel. And I think people will change their habits and realize that you can create trust and safety and intimacy in the virtual environment. In some ways, I've watched practitioners I've supervised realize that they're the ones holding themselves back from intimate connection virtually. And that's been a supervision topic.
Things. One, I think there's lots of potential ethical issues around recordings. And so the contracting has to be really clear and specific. And it requires a level of trust that people will, in fact, if they download the recording, not share it, not post it on social media, delete it at the appropriate time. But I don't think the virtual makes it more difficult to deal with ethical issues. It's all about building the trust, whether hypothetically you can do it in person, since I haven't really done that. But in the virtual world, it's about building the container, isn't it? About the safety.
Yeah.
Important. One is people need to watch themselves and don't worry about the rest of the people. Like talking to yourself in a mirror is a practice. So if they're feeling uncomfortable about being in a group like this, when they're on Zoom, to look at their own image and speak to themselves, because it's all about them anyway, and relax about the rest when it's not their turn and they're in observing mode, to be able to soften their eyes and kind of pull back from the screen a little bit. So I do offer, those are two particular tips. The other is leave your mics open always, leave your camera on always. Set up your environment to support you in being completely comfortable in your space.
There is the coffee in between, the chit chat, little conversations that you may have when you receive people and they have coffee and they introduce each other extra officially, and they found out that someone knew someone else or they went to the same school, so they can relate more. For me, this initial moment of creating the group spirit is faster face-to-face. Other than that, I see no difference. So I think, like coaching, the trust and safety are the most important parts of supervision and how you respond to what emerges. And that is irrelevant if you're doing it face-to-face or not, for me.
Okay. To me, it's very, very important to look either at the eyes, the image of the other person, or the camera. It's very important that the other person can feel that you're really are present there and looking at them. I'd say no distractions. Oh, okay. One more thing of the other question, the distraction of the phone. Usually I have it here next to me, and like no phones, flip it back. Don't look at the phone. Don't look at all the messages that come in the computer. Take some time to get to know and contract with the other person, but not only the agreement or the contract that it's the formal one of how many sessions. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the warmth, getting to know the other person. Make sure that contract is well set, because that's going to set the confidence, the trust, the warmth, the vulnerability in the other one a little bit faster.
So much more of our attention and focus is on resourcing our coaches, right? The coaches in our groups and our supervision relationships right now. And I wonder if what that has helped us as supervisors and those of us as coaches in supervision or supervisors in supervision come to appreciate differently is this element of resourcing the coach or resourcing ourselves if we're in supervision of our supervision. So I'm holding this real curiosity about, we've done a lot of normative and we've done a lot of formative, and we say, oh yeah, and there's this restorative aspect. But I wonder if restorative isn't more in all of our awareness now, and if that won't hold going forward as a really slightly bigger part of what we do.